A field of forgotten whispers, the lavender fields stretched far beyond the horizon, a sea of soft purple swaying beneath the golden dusk. The wind carried the scent, earthy, floral, almost melancholic, through the valley, wrapping around the old stone cottages of Everleigh like a memory long forgotten. Clara had never meant to stay this long. She had only planned to rent the little cottage for 2 weeks, to clear her head from the constant static of city life. London had drained her. Emails, deadlines, the feeling of moving forward yet standing still. So when she saw the Everleigh Lavender Farm in a travel magazine, it had felt like fate. She spent her mornings wandering between the lavender rows, letting the hum of bees and the rustle of leaves replace the noise in her mind. But on the 8th day, she found the letters beneath the shade of an old oak tree, one that had stood watch over the field for perhaps 100 years. Her foot caught on something buried in the roots. She knelt, brushing away the earth until her fingers touched metal, a rusted tin box. She hesitated, heart beating a little too fast. Then, with careful hands, she lifted the lid. Inside, wrapped in delicate silk ribbon, were letters, dozens of them, each one addressed to Eleanor Whitmore, each one signed in the same fading ink. Yours, forever waiting, James. Next chapter. A love story written in ink. Clara sat beneath the oak tree, the letters trembling in her grasp. She unfolded the first one, the paper fragile, edges browned with time. The ink had softened, but the words were still clear, still heavy with longing. June 12, 1947. Dearest Eleanor, I write to you from Everleigh Station. The train is set to depart in 10 minutes. I had hoped you would come. I had hoped I would see you running toward me, calling my name, but the platform is empty. Perhaps you never received my letter. Perhaps you never meant to come. Still, I write, if not in ink, then in hope. Yours, forever waiting, James. Clara felt the weight of it settle in her chest. He had waited for her. She picked up another letter. July 2nd, 1947. My dearest Eleanor, it has been 3 weeks since I left Everleigh, and still, I look for you in every crowd. If I have no answer by the end of the summer, I will return, if only to see your face one last time. Yours, forever waiting, James. She read every letter, her heart tightening with each one. James had written through every season, every year, waiting, but Eleanor had never answered. Why? And why had the letters been left here, unopened, buried beneath this oak tree? Next chapter. The truth beneath the lavender. The next morning, Clara took the letters to Mrs. Hastings. the elderly woman who owned Everly Lavender Farm. She found her in the farmhouse kitchen, kneading dough for scones, her silver hair pinned in a loose bun. When Clara placed the letters on the table, Mrs. Hastings' hands stilled. She traced her fingers over the envelopes, her lips pressing together as her eyes misted over. "Eleanor Whitmore," she whispered. "I haven't heard that name in years." Mrs. Hastings motioned for Clara to sit, then poured 2 cups of tea, the scent of chamomile filling the room, and slowly, she told the story. Next chapter: The Forgotten Love of Eleanor and James. Eleanor Whitmore had been the daughter of a wealthy landowner, the kind of girl whose life had been decided before she could dream. James Everett had been a farmhand, the son of a baker, his hands always stained with ink or flour. They had fallen in love in secret, hidden walks through the lavender fields, whispered promises beneath the oak tree, stolen kisses when no one was looking. One evening, James had gathered his courage and gone to Eleanor's father, asking for permission to marry her. He had been laughed out of the house. The next day, James left town, his heart aching, but not before writing one last letter. "Meet me at Everly Station," he had written. "Run away with me." Eleanor had written back. She had said yes, but she never arrived, because her father had intercepted the letter. He had burned it before Eleanor ever saw James's words. For months, she waited for his reply, not knowing he was waiting for hers. And James? He had waited in London, sending letter after letter, never knowing she had never seen them, never knowing she had never stopped loving him. Next chapter: What became of Eleanor? Mrs. Hastings sighed, staring into her teacup. "Eleanor never married," she murmured. "She stayed here in Everly, growing old in that great empty house. Some say she would come to the lavender fields every evening, sit beneath the oak tree, and watch the sunset, as if she was waiting for something that never came." Clara swallowed the lump in her throat. "When did she pass?" Mrs. Hastings smiled sadly. 1987. Quietly, peacefully. A lifetime. She had waited a lifetime. And the letters? Perhaps she had found them too late. Perhaps she had buried them here, beneath the tree where she had once waited for James, as a way of letting go. Next chapter: The Last Letter. That evening, Clara returned to the lavender fields, the rusted tin box beside her. She had read all the letters, except one. The last envelope was different, its seal unbroken. With careful fingers, she opened it. June 12, 1987. Eleanor, it has been 40 years since I last wrote you. Perhaps this letter will never reach you, but I must write it anyway. I came back to Everly today. The station is gone. The streets are different. but the lavender fields remain the same. I do not know if you are still here. If you are, I only wish to say this. I loved you, I waited for you, and if time were kind, I would wait all over again. Yours, always, James. Clara pressed the letter to her lips, a single tear slipping down her cheek. James had come back. He had returned for her, but Eleanor had never known. The story wasn't finished, and maybe, just maybe, Clara could be the one to tell it. An ending, or a beginning? The next day, she took one final letter and left it beneath the oak tree. To Eleanor Whitmore and James Everett, your love was not forgotten. Your words were not lost. Somewhere, somehow, may you finally find each other, at last. And as Clara walked away, the wind whispered through the lavender, carrying the scent of something found, something waiting, something eternal. Some stories fade with time, but love lingers, waiting to be found again. Thank you for joining me on this journey through words, memories, and whispers of the past. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more timeless tales. Until next time, may your days be filled with warmth, wonder, and stories waiting to be told.